The moment he stepped into the crowded roadside diner, something in him stopped breathing. Not because he was a billionaire, used to marble lobbies, private elevators, and silence people called respect, but because of the sound he heard. A laugh. Soft, gentle, familiar in a way that hit him like a fist to the chest. Elias Hartman, CEO, billionaire, and a man the world believed unshakable, went perfectly still. That laugh didn't belong here. It belonged in memories he had buried 20 years ago. Memories of a girl with tangled brown hair, warm chocolate eyes, and a habit of laughing even when life had nothing to offer. His little sister, Lena. But Lena vanished when she was 12. Gone without a trace. The police searched. Reporters swarmed. His parents broke. And Elias, just 17 then, carried the guilt like a ghost on his spine. You were supposed to watch her. You were supposed to protect her. They never found her. And he never forgave himself. So when he heard the laugh in that cramped diner off the highway, he almost didn't turn. Almost. But he did. And the world tilted. There, balancing plates on one arm, hair tied back, apron smudged with flour, stood a waitress, with the same eyes, the same smile, the same shape of face he saw in his dreams, except older, tired, and carrying an exhaustion no kid should have had to learn. But he didn't breathe until he saw it. The scar. A thin, pale crescent just under her jaw. The scar she got when she fell off her bike at age 9 while he chased after her, laughing. His knees went weak. Lena? He whispered it before he could stop himself. The tray in her hands wobbled. She froze. Slowly. Too slowly. She turned her head toward the voice. Her eyes landed on him. And for a terrifying, breathtaking moment, nothing moved. Not the customers. Not the neon lights. Not the world. Just him. Just her. Her lips parted, trembling. Eli. His heart cracked open. It was her. It was her. After 20 long years. After every sleepless night. After every search that ended with disappointment. He'd found her. But the reunion didn't explode into joy. Because the next second, Lena took a step back. Then another. Her eyes, once bright with recognition, shifted into something darker. Fear. Lena, he whispered, stepping toward her. No, she said sharply, clutching the tray like a shield. You shouldn't be here. Her voice wasn't angry. It was scared. Terrified. Elias froze. The last thing he expected was fear. Lena, he said gently, I looked for you for years. Don't, she whispered. Her hands shook. I can't do this right now. I have to work. Work, he repeated quietly. You've been missing for 2 decades. I thought you were. Dead, she finished, eyes filling. He swallowed hard. Yes. She shook her head. I'm not dead. A hollow laugh escaped her. Just invisible. Elias's chest tightened painfully. Invisible. The word burned. She turned away, but he stepped forward. Please, don't run from me. I'm not running, she said. I'm serving table 5. She tried to move, but her hand slipped. The tray fell, plates shattering across the floor. People gasped. The manager stormed over. Lena, again? That's coming out of your paycheck. Elias snapped. No, he said coldly, stepping between them. It isn't. The manager scoffed. And who the hell are you? Lena looked horrified. Eli, please don't. But Elias's voice dropped into the tone that made boardrooms freeze. I'm the man who's going to buy this diner if you talk to her like that again. The manager paled instantly. Around them, customers whispered. Lena's eyes widened, anger and panic mixing. Eli, she hissed. Stop. Don't make a scene. He turned to her slowly, and the raw desperation in his eyes made her breath catch. I'm not making a scene, he said softly. I'm trying not to lose you again. Her lips trembled. The room grew small. Too small. She backed away, shaking her head. I can't talk here, she whispered. Not now. He stepped toward her again, heart pounding. Lena, please, just tell me why. Tell me where you've been. Tell me. Her voice broke. Stop asking me questions I'm not ready to answer. Then tell me one thing, he said, voice cracking for the first time in years. Are you safe? She hesitated. Too long. Far too long. Elias's stomach dropped. Lena, he whispered, are you in danger? A tear slid down her cheek. I can't do this here, she whispered again. And she ran. Out the back door. Into the alley. Disappearing into shadows he'd already lost her to once before. Elias didn't hesitate. He ran after her, terrified that this time, if he let her disappear, he'd never get her back again. Rain began to fall again. Thin, cold drops that stung Elias's skin as he pushed through the back door of the diner. "Lena," he called out. His voice echoed down the narrow alley. A stray cat darted behind a trash bin. Water dripped from rusted gutters. But no sister. For a moment, panic clawed up his throat. The same panic he felt 20 years ago when she vanished from their yard. He took a shaky breath. "Calm down. She's here. She didn't disappear. Not again." He spotted movement near the far end of the alley. Her silhouette. Small. Hunched. Arms wrapped around herself. He walked toward her slowly, as if approaching a wounded animal. When he got close enough, he saw her wiping tears with the back of her hand. The same way she did when she was 12. "Lena," he whispered softly. She stiffened. "Eli, you shouldn't be here." "Why?" he asked. She didn't answer. He took a cautious step. "You ran from me," he said quietly. "You never ran from me before." "That was before," she whispered, staring at the ground. "Before everything." The rain thickened, soaking her hair, dripping down her trembling fingers. Elias removed his jacket and gently placed it around her shoulders. She flinched. "Don't," she whispered. But she didn't remove it. He stepped in front of her slowly, forcing her eyes up to meet his. "I'm not leaving you in the rain," he said softly. "Not again." Her lips parted, a small, broken sound escaping. "It wasn't your fault," she whispered. His breath caught. "What wasn't my fault?" Her throat worked as she swallowed. "The day I disappeared." He staggered, stunned. "You remember?" She nodded weakly. He'd always feared she forgot. Or worse, didn't want to remember him at all. "Lena," he breathed. "Please tell me what happened." She wrapped his jacket tighter around her chest, eyes flickering with the kind of pain that builds for years in silence. "I didn't run away," she whispered. "I was taken." The words hit him like lightning. His lungs clenched. "Taken," he repeated, voice shaking. She nodded, tears mixing with the rain. "I was walking home from school. A man I didn't know grabbed me. He put me in a car and—" Her voice cracked. Elias's hands curled into fists at his sides. "Who was he?" he asked, his voice suddenly trembling with cold fury. "I never learned his name," she whispered. "He kept me locked in a basement for weeks." Elias's vision blurred with rage. "No," he whispered. "No, my God." Lena wiped her tears, her breath shaky. "One night, he fell asleep drunk. I escaped through a window and ran. I didn't know where I was. Didn't know how long I'd been gone. I was scared I'd be taken back." He stepped closer, gently taking her hands. "You could have come home. We would have found you," he whispered. But she pulled her hands away. "No," she whispered harshly. "You don't understand. The police had pictures of me everywhere. I saw myself on a missing poster." Her voice broke completely. "I was dirty, starving, bleeding. I didn't even recognize myself. I thought no one would believe I was really me." He felt something inside him rupture. "Lena, we would have believed you. We would have." "No," she whispered again, shaking her head. "I heard what they said about me on the news." She swallowed hard. "They thought, maybe I ran away. Maybe I wasn't happy. Maybe I wanted to disappear." Elias's chest twisted painfully. "That was all speculation," he said, voice cracking. "You were a child. But I heard the words," she whispered. "And my kid brain believed them." She closed her eyes. "So I kept running. And running. And running." His jaw trembled. "Where did you go?" She shrugged weakly. "Everywhere. Shelters. Motels. Back alleys like this one." She looked away. "I grew up on fear." He closed his eyes in agony. "And then," he whispered. "By the time I got stable," she continued, "years had passed. I looked up the Hartman family, and everything had changed. You were famous now. The business empire. The interviews. The headlines." She blinked back tears. "You looked so successful, so powerful. I thought you didn't need a broken person like me walking back into your life." Elias's heart shattered. "Lena," he whispered, stepping forward. "You were never broken." She let out a small, painful laugh. "Then why did I spend 20 years hiding?" He reached for her face, cupping her cheek gently. "Because you were hurt," he whispered. "Not broken. Not unwanted. Just hurting." She trembled under his touch. "I'm scared, Eli," she whispered. "What if you don't like who I am now?" His voice cracked completely. "Then I'll love who you are now," he whispered. "And I'll love who you were then. And everything in between." A tear rolled down her cheek. "You're my sister," he said, his voice steadying. "You could disappear for 1,000 years, and I'd still know you by your scar." Her breath hitched. "And then," She crumpled. He caught her, arms wrapping around her as she sobbed into his chest. Years of fear, shame, grief, loneliness, all pouring out at once. He held her tighter than he had ever held anything in his life. I found you, he whispered into her hair. I'm never losing you again. She clung to him like he was the only safe place left in the world. And in that cold alley, under the rain that had witnessed both their childhoods disappear, two broken halves found each other again, not as Billionaire and Waitress, but as Eli and Lena, brother and sister, lost and found. Elias didn't let go of her, not even when the rain turned colder, not even when her sobs quieted into small, broken breaths, not even when she finally whispered, Eli, please, I can't go with you. He leaned back just enough to see her face. Her eyes, once shining with recognition, were now full of something else entirely. Fear. Not of him. Of being found. Again. Lena, he whispered, brushing a strand of wet hair behind her ear. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You're safe with me. She flinched. No, she said, shaking her head. I'm safer here than anywhere near your world. Elias froze. My world, he repeated slowly. She nodded, hugging herself under his jacket. You're famous, Eli. People follow you. Reporters chase you. Cameras watch you. Business rivals stalk your movements. Her voice cracked. If they see me near you, he'll see me too. His heartbeat stumbled. Who? She swallowed hard. The man who took me. Lightning flashed in the distance, illuminating the alley. Elias felt the world tilt again. He's still out there? He whispered. She nodded, tiny, terrified. He found me once, years ago. She stared at the wet ground, voice trembling. He recognized me, told me I owe him silence. And if I ever talked, he'd finish what he started. Elias's stomach twisted with cold, murderous rage. And you're still living with that threat? He whispered. Her silence was her answer. He forced himself to breathe, slowly, carefully. Lena, why didn't you come to me? Why didn't you call? Tell me. She looked up at him, tears blurring her eyes. Because I didn't want him to hurt you. He shook his head, stunned. Me? Lena, I'm not the one who. You don't understand. Her voice trembled. You're Eli Hartman. People follow you. People hate you. People want to ruin you. If he found out I'm your sister, if he realized you have a weakness, he'd use me against you. His breath caught. She wasn't afraid for herself. She was afraid for him. Lena, he whispered, stepping closer. I would burn down the world before I let anyone touch you again. Her lip trembled. That's exactly the problem, Eli. You'd go to war, and you'd lose everything. Elias lowered his forehead to hers. Nothing matters if I don't have you. She gasped, breath catching in her throat. For a moment, neither spoke. The rain softened around them. Finally, Lena whispered, I didn't want to ruin your life. You saved mine, he answered softly. But then something shifted behind her gaze. A shadow. A memory. A warning. She wiped her face. We can't talk here, she said suddenly. Not outside. Not in the open. Elias's instincts sharpened. You think someone is watching? She shook her head quickly, then nodded, contradicting herself as fear tangled her words. I don't know anymore. Sometimes I feel eyes even when no one's there. Elias took her trembling hand. Come with me, he said softly. Somewhere safe. I don't have anywhere safe, she whispered. He squeezed her fingers. You do now? She hesitated. Her breath shook. Her eyes filled with doubt and longing. Okay, she whispered finally. But there's something you need to know first. He frowned. What is it? She bit her lip, her voice fragile. I'm not alone. His heart stilled. What do you mean? She took a shaky breath. And then, from behind a stack of crates, something moved. Something small. A child. A boy around 8 years old peeked out. Hair dark like hers. Eyes wide. Clutching a worn-out backpack. His voice was tiny. Mama, is that him? Every molecule in Elias's body froze. Mama, he whispered. The boy stepped out slowly and wrapped both arms around Lena's leg. She placed a trembling hand on his head. Her voice cracked as she whispered. Eli, this is Noah. Elias felt his heart roar inside his chest. You have a son? Lena nodded, eyes shining with fear and guilt. I didn't want you to find out like this. Elias dropped to his knees. Slowly, painfully. So he was level with the little boy hiding behind her. Noah clutched his mother's shirt tighter. Elias tried to steady his voice. Hello, Noah, he whispered gently. I'm your uncle. The boy blinked. My uncle. Elias nodded. Very slowly, Noah stepped forward. Just an inch. Then another. He studied Elias's face. The same way Lena used to when she tried to memorize something important. Then he whispered, "You look like Mama." Elias felt his throat close completely. He reached out a trembling hand. Noah hesitated, then placed his tiny palm in Elias's. And just like that, 20 years of loss, 20 years of nightmares, 20 years of unanswered prayers, all found their way home. Lena watched them with tears spilling down her cheeks. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I kept him safe. I kept him hidden. I didn't want anyone to know he existed. I didn't want him to grow up in fear like I did." Elias stood and pulled both of them into his arms. His voice broke against the top of her head. "You don't have to hide anymore. Not from me. Not from him. Not from anyone." But even as he held her, he felt it. Her body stiffening. Her eyes flicking to the alley entrance. Her breath catching. Someone was there. Watching. A shadow moved. A tall shape. A slow step. The silhouette of a man who didn't belong. Noah tightened his grip. Lena's voice dropped to a terrified whisper. "Eli, he found me." Lena's whisper sliced straight into Elias's spine. "He found me." Every muscle in his body locked into place. His arm tightened protectively around her and Noah. His breath turned cold and sharp. At the end of the alley stood a man. Not moving. Not speaking. Just watching. Tall. Broad-shouldered. A silhouette carved out of darkness and memory. The kidnapper. Elias didn't need the full light to know. He felt it. He saw it in Lena's terror. The way her body folded in on itself. The way her hand clamped over Noah's head. The way 20 years of trauma returned in one hit. "Get behind me," Elias whispered. "No," Lena begged, gripping his sleeve. "Eli, please, don't. He's dangerous. He's not like people you deal with. He's..." Elias gently removed her hand and stepped forward. "I'm not 17 anymore," he said quietly, "and he doesn't get to take anything from you again." The man shifted. A sickening, amused smile appeared in the shadows. "Well," the man said, voice low and gravelly, "isn't this sweet?" Little Lena found herself a bodyguard. Elias's jaw tensed so hard it hurt. "I'm her brother," he said. "Oh." The man's lips twisted into something vile. "The rich one." He took a small step forward. Lena grabbed Elias's arm, trembling violently. "Please, Eli, don't provoke him." The man chuckled. "That's right, sweetheart. Listen to your mama. I know things about her you don't." Noah whimpered. Elias felt something primal ignite inside him. Rage, ancient and protective, strong enough to level mountains. "Don't look at her," Elias growled. "Don't speak to her. Don't even breathe in her direction." The man smiled slowly. "You think you can stop me?" Elias didn't blink. "I already have." The man scoffed. "Really? And how?" "Because you're not walking away from this alley," Elias said. For the first time, the man's smile faltered. Elias took a silent step closer, voice dropping into the tone that had built empires. "You took my sister. You stole her childhood. You scarred her with fear, and you made her afraid to come home." His voice cracked at the edges. "You made her hide her own child." The man's eyes flickered. Elias moved again, closing the gap. "You destroyed 20 years of our lives," he whispered. "And you thought you could walk back into hers like a ghost." A police siren wailed in the distance. Unrelated, but perfectly timed. The man stiffened. Elias kept going. "There are security cameras on every corner of this block." He pointed at the hidden lens above the diner door. "That one's mine." The man's expression shifted, just a little. "And the moment I saw your face," Elias continued, "every security team I employ was notified." A car screeched to a stop at the end of the alley. 2 men in black stepped out. Bodyguards with the precision of trained wolves. The kidnapper took a step back. "No," he hissed. "This isn't." "Oh, it is," Elias said coldly. "You are done hurting her." The man turned to run, but one of Elias's men caught him effortlessly, pinning him to the wall. Lena gasped. Noah hid his face in her side. The man struggled, snarling like a trapped animal. "You think arresting me will fix her?" he spat. "You think she isn't broken?" Elias stepped forward so fast the bodyguards tensed. He leaned in close, eyes blazing. "She is the strongest person I know," he whispered. "And you don't get to say her name ever again." The man growled, but Elias didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. He simply said, "Take him." The bodyguards dragged the man away, kicking and cursing, his voice fading as they shoved him into the waiting car. The moment he was gone, it was as if the whole world exhaled. Lena collapsed to her knees, sobbing into her hands. Elias dropped beside her, gathering her into his arms like the broken girl he'd lost 2 decades ago. "It's over," he whispered against her hair. "You're safe now. I promise you, Lena, you're safe." She shook violently. "Eli, I thought he'd find me forever. I thought." He pulled back and held her face between his hands. "Look at me." She did, and something inside her shattered at the gentleness in his eyes. "You're not alone anymore," he whispered. "You have me. You have Noah. You have a home." Noah crawled into their embrace, crying quietly. Elias wrapped one arm around him too, pulling them together until they were a single shape under the dim alley light. A family reunited. A family rebuilt. Lena trembled. "What if he comes back?" she whispered. "He won't," Elias said firmly. "He'll be in custody before the hour ends. And after that, he will never breathe the same air as you or Noah again." She sobbed harder, but this time, it wasn't terror. It was release. Elias held her like he'd been waiting 20 years to bring her home. And in a voice cracked with grief and relief, he said, "I lost you once. I'll never lose you again." She pressed her forehead to his. "And I'm done hiding," she whispered. "For me. For Noah. For us." Elias closed his eyes. "Welcome home, Lena," he whispered. She broke, and Noah wrapped his small arms around both of them, whispering, "Are we really safe now, Uncle Eli?" Elias kissed the top of his nephew's head. "Yes," he whispered. "With everything I am, yes." And as the sun broke through the clouds above the alley, spilling light over the three of them, their shadows intertwined on the wet pavement. A family, broken by the world, rebuilt by love. If this story touched your heart, share it. Because kindness doesn't always wear a smile, and heroes don't always wear uniforms. Sometimes, they walk in covered in dust, carrying stories that could change your heart forever.